All right, I'm going to stop recording right now. Welcome, everyone, to another episode of Skip 2 Credits. Thanks for tuning in. My name is Michael, joined today by Jack.
Oh, that's me. That's Jack.
Yep, that's you. That's Jack. And joined today by Sahil.
Hello.
So, usual standard fare, we're three engineers who just love talking about films and video games and TV and all that sort of stuff. And I think we're going to start off today by talking about something that we all just recently watched. It is the documentary by Leonardo DiCaprio called Before the Flood, which Sahil's going to give a little synopsis of in case you haven't seen it. But
Oh no,
Here, I'll talk about it. It's pretty much it talks about talks about climate change.
you're not Sahil, but okay, go
Oh,
ahead.
you already had a synopsis written?
Oh wait, it's like 65% in Rotten Tomatoes. I don't think we can talk about it.
We can still talk about it.
That's surprising.
Anyway,
Yeah,
it's
go ahead,
surprising.
Jack.
so it's about climate change and how I'm pretty sure anyone who actually isn't under a rock knows about climate change, or even if you're against if you don't believe in it, you've heard of it. So this movie is about the effects of climate change and what we need to do and what governments are doing and stuff like that. And it's pretty much DiCaprio's going to all these different countries and like China and India and talking to the people there. Um, yeah, pretty much. It's like an hour 35 minutes. You can watch it for free on YouTube. They post it on YouTube. So yeah, that's a synopsis, I guess.
Yeah, it was great that they actually posted on YouTube. It's like they're not making any money off of it, basically, are they? They're unless I don't know how that works. Maybe somebody would license it, but it seems like
yeah,
a completely voluntary thing.
from my understanding, they still released it in theaters while at the same time as releasing it for free on YouTube. Um, which I guess there's some people who would probably be like, yeah, I want to see this in theaters because it's probably really cool in theaters. But
Oh,
it's
Yeah,
perfectly.
I guess watching a glacier falling to the ocean is probably a lot cooler in the theater than it is on a computer
it's it's
monitor.
really it's really well shot. I think it's like the landscape the scenery stuff that they do, the overhead shots, like even the stuff that looks ugly, like the oil sands in Alberta, is really super well shot.
I thought that the oil sands bit was one of the most beautiful shots in the entire film.
Yeah,
Like,
it was
It's
funny.
funny, yeah.
I realize it's horrible. It's a horrible thing to say because it is apocalyptic what they're doing, but
I mean, yeah, and I'm surprised that they actually got access to it. Like the senior vice president of Suncor is giving him a tour of this thing that it looks you know plainly it looks very ugly, and he's just like, okay, let's go do a tour because it's Leonardo DiCaprio and we should we should entertain him, and that was surprising.
yeah,
And
it was interesting.
yeah, I don't know. I felt it was a bit unfocused. Felt like it was trying to explain climate change and trying to come up with solutions, and it was just too just like I would have liked it to focus more on, like there was like a whole segment about how one way to reduce your carbon footprint as an individual is to reduce your consumption of beef, of cows,
Hmm.
because
Mm,
cows they need so much land to grow all their food and stuff like that. And not to mention
right.
they produce their own methane and stuff. But they didn't like focus on stuff that people can do. They just went. I don't know. Maybe because I took that course in energy systems, I know all of the stuff. So it just never
Hmm.
felt original. It was almost like reading a book before watching the movie.
Well, the example they gave is like it is geared towards individuals, or like if you want to contribute in a small part, stop eating beef, which is easier said than done. But I think the expectation that it was going to be this more technically focused thing where you're like getting information on how to stop carbon emissions on your own or something. I think that's the wrong expectation to have going into it. It's more like it's romanticizing the whole thing in a way. Like the guy, the astronaut, the NASA astronaut, that bit, like they spent a lot of time with him because he was very passionate. I think that movie is more about people than you would normally expect from like a documentary like that. Like the interview with the Indian lady, the official from India, who was like, grilling Leonardo DiCaprio, like she wasn't about to like just lay back, and she was like, "What are you gonna do? What is the U.S. gonna do?" And then the interview with the NASA dude, the interviews, they had a lot of good people on that documentary talking about stuff. Even the guy who was talking about the burger was very passionate about it. Um, so I don't think it was a technical thing. I think it was just this whole big, nicely edited and like nicely shot thing.
So I think like it was intended to appeal to as many people at once as possible.
Yeah.
Now for me, like I prefer more technical details. Like I want to see some numbers or some stats and trends and things like that. That's because that's what really speaks to me. But like I would say that I'm not part of the larger audience because like the three of us are very technically minded. We're engineers, so it's
that information is out there and nobody wants to look at it.
Yeah. So
well, that's why you have to put it in a movie, so people don't have to read it. He can explain it to you.
But I think it was. I think it was kind of summarized quite well with the NASA, the astronaut, at the end there, where he's showing them that big map of the Earth and he's saying like, okay, so this is how we projected the future would be like climate wise, and we underestimated it, and
Right.
and then he goes on to say like this is what it's going to be in the future, and we have these incredibly complex models that have taken decades to develop, and these models, if anything, they undercut or they underestimate. Yeah, they're conservative, so we have the data available. The fact that people just choose to ignore it, be it for convenience or what, who knows what, then like it frustrates me just to no end. But anyway, I think that part of the film did a good job of like showing like look, we have this information. Like, why aren't you listening?
So. I think that's a good point. And it was told in the perspective of someone who doesn't know anything, and then goes around and talks to smart people about it, right? Like he says in the beginning, he doesn't know that much about it, and he talks to a bunch of people about it. And then the aspect of like why people don't care that much about it. If you look at the China section, right, and you look at how quickly people like organized and protested because it was directly affecting them, right? If there wasn't that much pollution in the streets of the big cities in China, they wouldn't be the number one like highest capacity wind energy like country in the world. They're like putting up. There's a statistic I don't remember. It's like incredible. Like they're putting up a wind turbine every 5 minutes or every hour or something crazy. They're like super, even though they're like the biggest polluter, they are the country with the highest investment in clean energy. And it's because it directly affected people. Whereas, the second biggest polluter, which is the States, people don't see that direct effect. It's more like they said it even in the documentary, it affects countries that don't even, they don't produce any carbon emissions, like small islands and stuff.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Who's going to listen to them? That's the problem.
Yeah, it was a good film.
Yeah.
I thoroughly enjoyed it. It made me extremely depressed about the state of the world. I find it incredibly frustrating that there's these people in high positions of high power that continue to deny it and make things worse for everyone.
Those parts just, they make you just so angry as as rational people who can trust in scientific methods. When someone goes like, "Hey, there's a snowball in my Ziploc bag here. Oh, look, that guy is the head of." I know we don't talk politics. We shouldn't, but like, come on, he's the head of the environmental committee of the whatever. That's just nonsense. That's just, I can't.
It's complete bonkers.
That's crazy.
But anyway, like that's the thing about this film is it's, even though it's a documentary, it was still very like it filled me with a lot of emotion, and like that's what films are for, right? In some cases it's like just to enjoy the movie, but in other cases it's like you it pushes you to action.
Yeah, I
Like
don't know.
today,
I'm sorry, go ahead.
well, or so earlier this week, I was like, I'm gonna have a hamburger for dinner. I was like, no, wait, I'm not. I'm not gonna have beef.
I think New
So,
Zealand cattle are probably less of a factory industry than American.
yeah, but even still,
Yeah,
it's an attitude thing, right?
yeah.
But,
It's. I mean, yeah. It's a tough problem. I like the positive parts about that, like the fact that Elon Musk is in that documentary, going like maybe he's a bit out there, maybe he's not as realistic, but the fact that he can show tangible results, right? This big factory that will go up, and he can say that you just need 100 more of these, and if you do the metrics, it would be enough to
mhm.
power the whole world. And if showing that guy is really awesome.
Yeah.
Someone like that is like a big pioneer, driver of change.
Hmm.
That's good.
Unrelatedly, did you guys see his new solar roof tiles?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Those are pretty awesome.
I wonder how expensive they are, though. I haven't checked.
Yeah, well, in the reveal, he keeps saying that they cost less, or sorry, the solar power or solar
Right.
the solar shingles and power will cost you less than a new roof. So it's basically he's saying like it'll cost you less than a new roof if you take into account the amount of money you save on power,
Exactly.
which
Right.
is a really like sort of gray way of describing
Explaining.
it. But, yeah.
But that's awesome. That's like, this is an exciting time, isn't it? Like
Mhm.
10 years ago, if someone said, "Oh, we'll have solar power," and you wouldn't have solar panels on your roof, you wouldn't believe them. Like I
Yeah,
wouldn't.
that's right.
It's nuts that that technology exists now, and that's awesome.
Mhm.
That's great.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. The thing about the movie, that it felt like it was targeted for people who already, like, people who already believe in climate change and already did or want to do something about it. It didn't feel
Mhm.
like it probably didn't change anyone's mind. Like people who don't believe in
Mm,
it, I don't think it changed anyone's mind, and I don't think
Mhm.
it went enough about coming up with things that you could do at home or stuff um, like okay, there was like a graphic that showed you how many scientists are actually believe in climate change, and there's like a minority who doesn't. They didn't. They
hmm
didn't like. They should have like went like not after them, like not like a serial killer kind of way, but like see why do they not believe in it, or are they financed by oil companies or not, or do they have a point in some respect? Is it just like a little change, or maybe the way the statistics is done is just because you know how
I've I've seen
hold on
I've seen that
before
I've
we
seen that
finish.
documentary.
I have seen the documentary, but the thing about statistics, you can like play with them, so you can make them look however you want. So I don't know. It just felt like it didn't do its job that way.
I
Mhm.
don't know. Yeah, if you want to be devil's advocate, yeah, there I could poke holes. I could say, "Oh, that glacier shot, it was in the summer, so maybe that happens every year. Maybe this happens every 1,000 years." But you're not going to change if you don't believe in climate change by now. Definitely that documentary probably wouldn't change your mind. You would probably become even more defensive and go like, "Oh, Leonardo DiCaprio is gonna like," you're gonna have that mindset. But I've seen that documentary. I don't know why I watched it, but I did talk about it to Andrew, to Roe, our energy systems prof at university, and he was like, "Yeah, I've seen that," and that was his response. Is like, "Yeah, what do you want to say about that?" Like, are you one of them? What's going on here? That documentary showed like a bunch of like, I don't know what it was, whether it was a parody or not, but it was like a bunch of high level scientists going like, "Oh no, maybe it's not humans causing it." But I don't know. When it's 97 against 3,
Mhm.
that's big. Like those are.
Mhm.
It's like the argument that one comedian made during a stand up show. He was like, they'll have they'll have weird media debates on television where they'll go like, here we have a dentist who's going to talk about hygiene, dental hygiene, and on the other side to counter him will be this idiot who like took his tooth out using a doorknob or something, and it will supposedly that'll be an equal argument, which is a lot of this, like the guy with the snowball, right? How does he have enough knowledge to argue against the climate?
Mhm.
You know, scientist. It's
Mm-hmm.
I don't know.
Yeah.
If you don't believe in it, whatever.
So at risk of turning into an environmental podcast here,
Right.
maybe we should move on. The
One thing I'd like to mention is it has a great soundtrack.
it
It's
does.
got oh my god, it's got Mogwai, who are like this. I don't know how to describe their music as more or less electronic ambient music, which is great. I've used it before in a video. And then there's Trent Reznor and Atticus Ross,
Mhm.
who did a lot of David Fincher movies recently. And then Gustavo Santaolalla, I think maybe that's how I pronounce his last name. And he did the music for Last of Us, Brokeback Mountain, I think. He's a great composer, and he doesn't know how to read music or write music. He does it with sounds.
It's pretty
That
awesome.
guy's awesome.
It's pretty awesome. It's great film anyway. I highly recommend everyone watch it. But yeah, let's move on to what we've been watching aside from Before the Flood, obviously. But so you've been watching some stuff, yeah?
Yeah, I just noticed we spent about 15 minutes talking about that.
Yeah, that was meant to be a 5-minute thing, but that's okay.
Oh, was it?
Uh,
I think I went over.
So, 2 weeks ago, the best TV show this year came out. It's called Black Mirror. I'm a big fan. I'm just gonna say that right now. I was a big fan of the first 2 seasons that came out a few years ago on Channel 4 in the UK.
Mhm.
Netflix then bought the rights and they did the 3rd season, which came out recently. It has 6 episodes, as opposed to the previous seasons, which each had 3 episodes. They're about an hour's length each, and then the last one, which I haven't seen, the last episode is an hour and 30 minutes. And because there are 6 episodes, it's got this nice variation. Usually Black Mirror is like just depressing. They just throw you down this well where there's no light. You're just like, oh man. But there's a bit of optimism in this season. Just a bit, just a tiny bit.
Mhm.
The show is about like this intersection of technology and society in a way that goes to the extreme negative side. And this stuff could happen like in 5 minutes. It could happen in 5 years. It could happen 10 years. The technology is sort of there. There's like one episode. I'm not going to spoil anything, but there's one episode that just left me with goosebumps after. I was like, wow, that is the most depressing, exhilarating, believable thing I've seen. It has this nice like futuristic vibe about it, and the OS graphics that are done, the technology side of it is done in a really convincing way. It doesn't look fake most of the time, and the storytelling is great. The characters are developed enough. It's not just about, hey, this plot, but the characters seem to have like depth to them. It's got a good every episode has a different cast and story, so they have to go back to scratch from every episode, and each episode has a different director, different composer. They've got Clint Mansell doing some music. He did some of the Drive music. Rashida Jones, you guys know Rashida Jones. She was in Parks and Rec.
Mhm.
She's an actress and a screenwriter.
Right.
She co-writes the first episode with Michael Schur from Parks and Rec, which is nice to see. It's a nice background crew for that. And of course, Charlie Brooker is the creator, and I'm a big fan of him because he's a big fan of The Wire and video games. And he's just this like self-deprecating dude. When you see him in an interview or something, he's a cool dude because he's not on a high horse or anything. He's not like this auteur type guy. He'll say, I'm lazy, and that's just it. I'm lazy, and only deadlines will make me go to work, or I'd rather be playing video games or whatever. He's an interesting guy, and the show sort of echoes his interest. There's a lot of video game references there.
Mhm.
So yeah, it's definitely recommended, and looking forward to the next season next year.
So do you like it? I
love it.
I just couldn't tell.
I just saw the waveform clipping, so yeah, it should be less noisy. Yeah, sorry.
So
So Michael, what comic booky stuff have you been watching?
So first of all, I will just say that I have watched the very first episode of Black Mirror.
Yeah.
The one made by the BBC or
It was Channel 4.
Channel 4. Okay.
Yeah.
Anyway, it was really good. I the subject matter was a little different than I was expecting.
Disturbing, I think, with the word you're
a
looking for.
little disturbing. Yeah, a little disturbing. I also recommended it to my coworker, who is also my boss, effectively, and without having watched it. And then I watched it, and I was like, "Oh no! I hope he didn't watch this last night."
Did he?
I got to work
What
the
do you
next
think?
day, and I asked him, and he's like, "Yeah, I watched it," and he's like, "It was really good," and I was like, "Oh, thank God." but no, it was I thought it was like a really well told story. The first episode is about the British Prime Minister, and there's some stuff that happens, and
Would you? I have a question for you. If you were the studio runner or whatever, and this pitch came to you, would you have greenlit it?
um, probably, I don't know. I'm not the right person to ask that.
That's
Um,
yeah. It was yeah. It's disturbing.
mm, but yeah, so like aside from Black Mirror, anyway, I did watch. Last weekend, I went and saw Doctor Strange, the new
Nice.
Marvel film, with Benedict Cumberbatch and Chiwetel Ejiofor and those people, and it was
All
was
those British people who have American accents.
yeah, it's really weird. That being said, Benedict Cumberbatch's American accent was spot on. It was awesome.
Huh.
It was like the best thing about that movie. Anyway,
Really?
the movie.
Oh, that was the best thing. Then the movie must have sucked.
No, the movie was quite good. It was like, to be honest, that was the first superhero film I've seen this year. Not because I have anything against superhero films or anything. It just worked out that way. But it was actually really well done and quite enjoyable. I wouldn't say it's the best Marvel film ever, but it's one of the better ones to be sure. And
What is it about? Because I've watched the trailers and I kind of guess it's a doctor who takes some drugs and sort of finds a Nepalese castle. I don't know. What is it about?
So it's about a doctor who goes to this temple place in Kathmandu, and then they sort of train him how to use this sort of like the other dimensions to be able to be powerful or whatever. So like it's like they become the guardians of like the spiritual side of the world, whereas like the Avengers are the guardians of the physical side of the world. Anyway, it was super bizarre and kind of over the top, but it was just an enjoyable film. I also saw it in the Roxy Cinema in Wellington, which is like one of my favorite cinemas in the world, and so it's just awesome. It is amazing seats, and you get to drink wine and eat ice cream while you watch the movie. It's just awesome. But yeah, that was the main thing I watched this week. What about you, Jack?
Is it?
Sorry.
Just a quick question there. Is it like worth watching in the cinema?
No.
Okay.
I don't. Unless you really want to go see a movie, I would say this would be a good choice to go see. But it's not. I wouldn't say it's like critical that you watch it in cinemas.
Okay.
But I do recommend you watch it at some point on a TV or laptop at least. But
do they do the bit at the end where they try and do the cross universe stuff? Is there another character that shows up? Maybe?
So there was 2 after credit scenes.
Really?
I hate them, man.
I won't spoil them.
It's probably not a spoiler anyway, even if you do spoil them.
Yeah, it's fine. I won't.
All right. Okay, so I haven't watched a movie in the theater or a TV show. I just watched some movies at home.
Mm-hmm.
So I watched a movie from Iran called Taxi, or I think it's also called Taxi Tehran. It's this director called Jafar Panahi. So it's pretty much. So the director is starring in his own film. So apparently this guy did some political films and he got banned from making movies. So what he did was he put like a hidden camera in a cab. I'm not sure. It's hard to tell if it's. I think it is staged, but it was supposed to be like it's all hidden cameras, but it obviously looks a little bit staged. So I'm not entirely sure. So he's driving the cab and he gets different passengers. You get random a guy who sells DVDs. You get a couple of old ladies holding a bowl with goldfish for because they want to live longer or something. Just like a random bunch of people, and they just talk, and it's actually quite entertaining.
Sounds interesting.
It is quite interesting. It's actually very similar to this other Iranian film called 10 by this director called Abbas Kiarostami, the guy who he passed away maybe a month ago or something.
I heard about that.
So he did a similar movie called 10. But it wasn't a cab though. It was just like a lady driving, and she would be like driving with her friend or with her daughter, or not daughter, son. Sorry, their son with random people. But yeah, it's a very different kind of movie. It's very interesting. So that was good. Another movie I saw was The Player, which is it's from
this. Is it okay? I have no idea what this is about, but I'm gonna guess it's one of two things. It's a video game thing, related thing.
No.
Or two, it's like this sort of womanizing dude who's called The Player.
No.
Like The Player,
No.
Okay.
No, but both. No, The Player is directed by Robert Altman. He's apparently a famous director. I think this is the first movie I've seen of his. It's pretty good. It's a movie about the Hollywood system, sort of. So it's about this executive producer who like greenlights projects for the studio, and apparently some guy came to him a while back that he can't remember, and he said no to, or he just told him no or something.
Right.
And then he keeps sending those postcards telling him that he's gonna die and stuff like that. So he tries to hunt. So it's like a thriller, drama thriller. It's got Tim Robbins is the lead.
Mm-hmm.
Which, by the way, where is Tim Robbins? Like I haven't seen him.
Tim Robbins, the guy in Mystic River?
From Shawshank Redemption. Oh yeah, and Mystic River.
Yeah, he's everywhere. He directed a couple of episodes of Treme, which is
what?
Yeah, you don't know. The guy who created The Wire made a show called Treme, and he made a couple of episodes. So I know him from there. He's been on late night shows a couple of times in the last few years.
Yeah, maybe. Around. Yeah, I just I don't know. Like back in the '90s, I think he was really, really popular. He was the lead in that movie. He was the lead in Shawshank. He was the lead in. I sort of ran out of movies, but I'm sure
he won a supporting Oscar for Mystic River.
Yeah. Oh yeah, there's that too.
Can I just say that?
Sure, go ahead.
Can I just say that I love movies about Hollywood?
Yeah,
and like the inner workings of Hollywood.
Okay, so this one has tons and tons of cameos. Like there's Tim Robbins playing an executive, but then there's like a lot. Like there's like Burt Reynolds playing Burt Reynolds. There's Julia Roberts playing Julia Roberts and Bruce Willis and stuff like that. It's just it's almost like self-referential. So the opening shot is this 8-minute like shot. There's no cuts, right?
Mm-hmm.
And in that shot, there's like a guy talking with this other guy about what's it called? This Orson Welles film. I forgot what it's called right now. But there's an Orson Welles film that starts off with a long tracking shot.
Yeah, right.
So it's a tracking shot, and they're talking about tracking shots. So they're like self-referencing themselves.
Right.
It's a weird thing.
I'll have to see this. Yeah.
And they're like talking. There's like a scene where they're talking that you always want a happy ending, and the movie ends with a happy ending, and stuff like that. It's really, really, it's really interesting. It's definitely very interesting.
Is this a new movie? Did it recently come out?
No, it's from 1992.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's been old.
Well, obviously Jack watched it, so yeah.
I'll have to give it a go.
Yeah, it is pretty good. It's not very long. It's like a 2-hour film. It's like a mystery. There's like a young Vincent D'Onofrio in the movie.
Oh, really?
Playing a character, not playing Vincent D'Onofrio. It's very confusing because sometimes you get someone comes by and you don't know if they're playing an actor or they're playing a character.
Mm-hmm.
Like Whoopi Goldberg shows up at one point in the movie, right? So I'm assuming she's playing Whoopi Goldberg, but no, she's not playing. She's playing like a detective or something.
Huh.
But like earlier in the movie, they mentioned Ghost. You know the movie Ghost.
Right.
Which has Whoopi Goldberg, so it's a little bit weird that way. But
interesting.
It's also pretty unique, so that's pretty good.
Yeah, right.
What else have I seen? I've seen like a lot of. I rewatched Tintin yesterday, the Steven Spielberg directed film.
Mm-hmm.
It's like that. There's like a what's it called? It's still enjoyable, but I realized there's a little bit of inconsistency a little bit of little bit of inconsistency with the humor. So the movie is pretty realistic, right? So people are getting
Mm-hmm.
shot and stuff like that. But then there are scenes where it's just like some impossible comedy bits, like people like spinning around in a heli, like they're doing like this impossible comedy stints, right?
Right.
So it felt like they were. So that was inconsistent, but apart from that, it's pretty good.
Nice.
Yeah, I think I talked to enough movies. So let's. How about you? Have you played video games, Sahel?
No, I haven't
You
played
haven't.
that much.
How about you, Michael?
Yeah. Well, I could talk about the trip to Italy if you want. It's
Yeah, go ahead.
yeah. Do you guys watch The Trip at all?
Is that?
Steve Coogan
No, I
and
haven't seen that.
No, I know all about it, but I
it's
haven't seen it.
it's the one that came out with Michael Caine impressions and all that. You remember
Mm-hmm.
the two British comedians?
Yeah,
So
I know of the movie, but I haven't seen it.
right. They made a sequel in 2014 that I saw on Netflix and I watched. It's basically the same thing, but instead of like in the middle of England somewhere, they're now in Italy, and it's all romanticized, and they're sort of following the life of I'm forgetting who this guy was. Oh, Lord Byron, who was this poet.
Mm-hmm.
They're not following the life, but they're like sort of going and seeing these old historical places where Byron would go and write, and where he hung out with other British expatriates. And
Mm-hmm.
it's not quite a documentary because it's all fake. They do go to the restaurants. They do have food. They show the people making the food. The food looks amazing. The views look amazing. It's like if you want to go to Italy and you want to convince someone they should go to Italy, you should show them this thing. I don't know how expensive the whole trip was, but it looked amazing. And they're just riffing on each other. I don't think it's even like, I don't think there was a script. It's just like Steve and Rob just going at each other on across the dinner table, making it's every scene has an impression of some sort. And of course they do Michael Caine again. Rob Brydon gets an American role doing Al Pacino's really bad impression. It's it's The Trip, the sequel based in Italy, and that's all you need to know about it. Either you'll be interested in watching it or not, but I thought it was a good time. It's not essential watching, but it was good. It was interesting. Bit of a tourism ad for Italy maybe. But yeah, so somebody else who's been touring Los Angeles has been Michael. Segue. Oh yeah.
Okay, I think the first rule of bad segues is you're not allowed to point them out.
Well, if I point them out, it makes them more funny, I think.
Yeah, it's true. So I recently got Grand Theft Auto 5 for my computer.
Oh, it's exciting.
I've always like enjoyed the Grand Theft Auto games like throughout the years, but they've always been like crazy expensive. Why are they so expensive? Anyway, I finally broke down and got it. So my main takeaway from that game is that it is so much fun. Like it's so over the top, and you're just like driving around stealing people's cars and shooting people and stuff, which is awful. It's totally awful, but it's the only place that you'd ever get to do it is in a video game like that, and it's just so different from real life, and it just makes it a lot of fun. But my favorite part about it though is that this game takes place in Los Santos, I think it is.
Los Santos, yeah.
Yeah, which is
Los Santos County.
Yeah, which is effectively LA County, Los Angeles County.
Right.
So I've only played like a couple hours of the game, but you start off in basically in the city, in LA City, and you or sorry, Los Santos City, but it's meant to be Los Angeles, so it's got all these like landmarks and things that you recognize from the city. And I was just in LA a few months ago, and one of my favorite things to do in LA was go to like the film studios and go to Hollywood Boulevard and stuff. So they do have some film studios in the game that you can go to. For whatever reason, every time I go into them, I get like the police after me. I don't understand. I guess
So
I'm probably
later in the game, there's a nice mission thread, a number of missions in that area.
Yeah, right.
And there might or may not be a very characterized executive producer that you have to play along with.
Yeah, I'm actually I've heard about that and I'm quite excited about it. But I really like going to Vinewood. They call it Vinewood Boulevard because it's like the Vinewood Hills instead of the Hollywood Hills, right?
Right.
Vinewood is Hollywood effectively. And you can go there and you can go to like the Chinese theater and go on like the walk of star or like the stars where all the actors and directors and everyone have a lot of stars and stuff, and it's just like
Have you looked at the stars? Because I don't remember if they like just parodied some big
yeah,
stars.
there's a bunch of just parody names on them. Yeah, it's pretty funny. That's the thing about those games that they're like they can't like be specific things that exist in real life, so they make a parody of basically everything.
And they make a point of it. The GTA
Yeah.
games are all about being like absurdly American.
Yeah, it's really funny.
And the funny thing is, it's written by a bunch of British brothers.
Mm.
So they're just taking the piss out of all the weird, like there's there's knockoffs of Facebook. There's people playing tennis in like the middle of the city, and it's
Mhm.
everybody's a weird character in that story.
Yeah, they're all caricatures of various people. The funny thing is that I keep driving on the wrong side of the road.
Right.
I live in New Zealand, so we drive on the left here, and I keep getting really confused. It's really bad.
Are you one of those guys who like follows the traffic rules and like stops at every traffic light?
Sometimes.
There was a game called The Getaway on PS2,
Mm.
and it would actually let you indicate. So I would sometimes go into that zone where like I would indicate when I was doing that.
Right. It's kind of fun to try and like follow the rules.
Yeah. Do you play first person or like a third person view?
I kind of switch between them depending on how I'm feeling at the time. Yeah.
It's nice they added that in with the PC version. It wasn't there in the original when I played it.
Yeah, that's right. But yeah, other than that, there's a new Adam Savage one-day build video on YouTube where he just built some bits for this replica spacesuit, and it's just fun to watch him machine and fun to watch him make the stupidest decisions ever when it comes to machining.
Yeah, I saw that. I didn't see the whole thing, but because I worked in a machine shop for 4 months. I was like, why are you doing it this way? And I was like,
He doesn't wear a lot of safety gear.
No, he doesn't. He like still has his watch on and his rings and everything.
Yeah, I wouldn't even do that.
It's I really enjoyed it. It really made me want to go back into work and just do some machining. But I need to take some time for myself sometimes too. But yeah, anything else you guys have watched or?
I will just mention that I've been reading the Ashley Vance biography about Elon Musk. It was like on sale on Kindle. This is the first book I've read in a very long time.
Mm-hmm.
I don't even know how long it's been since I sat down and read a book. I haven't got through, I've got through like a quarter of it. It's really interesting. It's about Elon Musk. This tech journalist basically approached him and he was like, I want to write a book about you. And obviously he's not the first. And Elon Musk is like, no. And then he was like, I'm not going to give up. And he went and interviewed a bunch of people who know him. Mm-hmm. Elon found out about it, invited him to a head-to-head conversation. And it was like, okay, you can write it, but then I have to be able to put footnotes wherever I want before you publish it. And the guy was like, no way. Like, I know your footnotes, they'll be like hundreds of pages and you're not going to agree with everything I say. And like Elon respected his willingness to just go about the book and was like, okay. And so he interviewed him a bunch of times, interviewed his family, co-workers, and it goes from basically Elon's beginnings in South Africa, moving to Canada. It's an interesting story how he ended up where he was and all the the story that CNN reported on, where he bought his McLaren F1 for $1 million after he sold his first company, is in there. It's an interesting story. Lots of nice, interesting things about a very interesting guy. So yeah,
right.
Good book. I think, to read. So yeah, that's about it for me. Jack, you wanted to say?
Yeah, I just one last movie I want to talk about is Trainspotting. It's the first time I saw it. It's an early Danny Boyle film.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'm interested to see it. How is it? How is it?
It was pretty good actually. It was pretty. It wasn't like no, it was really really good. It wasn't like epic or anything, but it's a classic film and it's got like, really really good music and stuff and. It's got like weird because so it's about these guys who like to do a lot of what did they take? I think it was heroin. They were on they were on heroin, so there were like scenes where they're like going through these weird like they're going into like an OD or something, so that they would do like weird practical effects that make it look really weird. And there was a scene when one of the characters like they're trying to make him sober up. They lock him in his room. And he gets really weird. He gets even weirder. But yeah, it's like if you've seen drug infused movies type films, then you know what. It's pretty similar. Like if you've seen The Wolf of Wall Street, the scene where he gets those lemon 714s and he goes
Right.
The crazy mode down the staircase.
Right.
There's like a bunch of scenes like that.
Yeah, right.
But it's really good. It's like really early Ewan McGregor, really early. What's her name? Something. I can't remember her first name, but something McDonald. A bunch of other people you might recognize if you watch a lot of British comedy or British stuff. But yeah. And speaking of Trainspotting, there's also a new trailer for a new Trainspotting film called T2. Trainspotting.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
To it.
Yeah.
I saw the trailer and I was like, what? What's happening?
I think you need to watch the original first.
Yeah. So I watched this. I don't know if I watched the whole trailer, but I watched most of it. And it looks like it's going to be similar to the original. But I think it's a different... Maybe they're not doing heroin. They're doing like a different drug or something. But that's what it looks like at least. But it definitely looks really, really interesting. And it looks like a lot of fun. as any decent drug movie should be.
It's got a big following, it seems, because it was like it got a lot of traction, that video, on when it came out. Like millions of views.
Yeah. No, it's I've never seen the original Trainspotting, but Ewan McGregor's always been one of my favorite actors. So
yeah,
I'll have to.
He's great.
I'll go watch it.
He's supposedly, I think, third season of Fargo, the miniseries / anthology TV show. He's supposed to be the star or the lead in that. So
really, that'll be awesome. That'll be awesome.
Cool. I haven't actually seen any of the Fargo shows.
Yeah.
Oh, it's great. I highly recommend it. They're very good.
So that was a good segue, Jack, into the news. Well done.
Thanks.
Well, if they're good segues, then we don't even point them out. We just
whoops.
Let them,
Whoops.
Yeah.
I just wanted to say that we were into the news segment of the...
the sparsely populated news section.
Yeah, we don't have too much news this time around, but the new Wonder Woman trailer came out. It looks pretty slick.
I haven't seen that yet.
Yeah, it's I don't know. It looks like pretty standard DC superhero fare, but I'm cautiously optimistic about it. Speaking of trailers, so when I went and saw Doctor Strange, the one trailer I didn't want them to show is the one they showed. And I was like, it was the Passengers trailer, and I was so annoyed, but at the same time, so enraptured by this. The Passengers looks stunning. It looks like the most beautiful movie I've ever seen in my life. And well, it could be that because Jennifer Lawrence is in it, but
there's a glut of sci-fi trailers, man. There's like this new trailer with Jack Gyllenhaal and somebody else.
Life.
Life.
It
looked okay, but it's fine. Like there's so many space movies coming out.
It's true. It's true.
Maybe too many. Maybe.
Yeah. Well, I don't think there could be too many ever. But
I mean, they just keep making them until they start bombing, until the scale goes too big. Then when the scale goes big and they start losing money, then they just stop. It's like any other genre.
Yeah, right. Actually, speaking of Ashley Vance, so Ashley Vance
Yeah.
released a thing for Bloomberg about Rocket Lab, the company that I work for.
Oh, nice.
It's on YouTube or something. Yeah, it's actually part
I'll
of
look it
like
up.
it's part of this like tech companies in New Zealand thing. It's like a half hour long, and Rocket Lab's in it for about 10 minutes or so, but it's pretty good.
Cool.
Yeah. Yeah. Any other news that you guys have, or
I don't. I couldn't. There was nothing. The thing is, like, we have 2 weeks in between, and lots of stuff happens, but nothing big came to mind this time. The one thing is, the next time we talk, there will be a new elected president of the
oh,
United
that's
States,
right.
which will be.
Can we not talk about that?
Yes, we can.
I'm just gonna point that out. That that's gonna happen. So that's what's
Yeah.
most probably what I'll be following the most in the next week or so. Yeah. Other than that, there's just more trailers coming out all the time. Yeah.
Yeah, on brighter news, I'm probably gonna try to watch Arrival by next time.
So.
Oh yeah, if you're going, you should tell me.
Yeah. Well, it's coming out on the 10th, so I don't know when I'm gonna watch it.
Actually, yeah, that's a good point. Arrival doesn't. I think Arrival comes out here a week later than it does in North America.
Really?
Otherwise, we could have talked about it together.
Well, we could still talk about it.
As long as I think if I see it on opening night, then let me just check here.
So the next time we're talking, I say only gonna be on the 19th. Oh, by the way, the listeners, we actually usually record this like 2 days, like on Saturday.
Oh, sorry. No. Arrival does come out this week. Awesome. So
on the 10th, right?
On the 10th, yeah. So that means I get to see it a day before you guys. Because I live in the future.
I'll probably catch it on the Tuesday after it releases.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah. So I will absolutely be watching that probably this week or this weekend.
Do you guys have a discounted cinema day like here?
Unknown. Yeah, I don't know.
You don't know?
I don't know. But yeah, I'll be absolutely watching this probably maybe even on the 10th.
Yeah, I'm excited.
Yeah, it's directed by the Canadian director, Denis Villeneuve. Really good. He's also directed the new Blade Runner movie. Also called Blade Runner 2049, I think.
I am stupidly excited for the new Blade Runner movie. Stupidly excited for so many reasons.
I never watched the original.
Really?
No.
Why are you looking so smug about it? It's not something to be proud of.
It's really not. It's actually, you should be ashamed.
Yeah,
I'm not smug about it. Whatever.
If you want a nice lazy afternoon one day, watch Blade Runner.
I should watch Blade Runner. I think that would make me more stressed out, isn't it? It's like a dystopian thing. And
it is,
like,
but
no.
It's a relatively slow paced movie.
Yeah.
But it's the kind of movie that you have to watch to sort of absorb everything about it, not just the story, but like also the cinematography and the effects and the acting and the like just everything about it, the editing. You really have to pay attention to the whole movie, and it's near perfect. It genuinely is. It's and while you're,
I don't know about that, but sorry, go ahead. Keep going.
While you're watching it, just know that all of the special effects were shot in camera.
Right.
So
I should point out that the worst thing about Blade Runner though is the fact that there's like so many different cuts. There's like a theatrical cut and a director's cut and an ultimate cut.
I was just gonna say, watch the final cut.
Oh yeah, whatever. I don't know which one is supposed to be the good one.
There are 5 cuts, I think. I've watched the director's cut and the final cut. Between those two, the final cut is better.
Okay, noted.
Yeah.
Ridley Scott, though, not best, but one of the greatest directors of the last 30 years.
So that could be a topic for another day, but absolutely, that would be a big topic.
Yeah, I just I saw a picture of him online. Just like this younger Ridley Scott on the Alien set or one of the Aliens movies.
Yeah, right.
And it was just like, wow, that guy's achieved a lot since then. He's
Yeah.
By the way,
okay.
No, sorry, go ahead.
I've been drinking juice out of a juice box, so if you guys hear funny noises, that's what that is.
Yeah, I've been watching you drink juice from a juice box.
It's delicious.
Yeah.
But yeah, the new
Do you
Blade
know
Runner is
that
gonna be
juice
awesome.
is made with palm oil from Indonesia? Huh?
No,
How can you drink that?
that's another thing about that before the flood is I am like consciously making an effort to not get things with palm oil in them now.
This is
um,
difficult.
it is.
Yeah, it's not. Yeah, you have to live off the grid basically.
Mm.
You shouldn't do anything.
There you go.
That
Just
computer was made with palm oil.
the
Probably.
best thing that I could do for the environment would just be not to exist. Oh,
Pretty much.
that's
Pretty much.
You're an engineer. You can come up with a solution. That's like a
Yeah,
terrible.
there you go. But yeah, the worst thing about New Zealand right now is La La Land, which is coming out this month for you guys, doesn't come out until Christmas Day here.
Oh,
And
I thought it was coming on Christmas here too.
oh, maybe. Then okay, if that's the case, then great. I don't
They
feel
were
so
both
bad
screwed.
anymore. But Passengers, which comes up before Christmas for you guys, comes out on January 1st in New Zealand.
Yeah, well, too bad.
It sucks.
Did I ever tell you guys a shortest story? Did I ever tell you guys about the protest I had about Dark Knight Rises when it was delayed, where I was living for like a month or so?
I don't think you did tell us.
I went crazy, man. I was living in the UAE, where it's a dominantly Muslim country, and Ramadan is the month where you're supposed to fast and like abstain from any sort of TV watching and stuff like that. And Dark Knight Rises was coming out during that month, and the people who are in charge of distributing it were like, well, no one's gonna come and see it. So while everybody else is enjoying this movie, we're just gonna not show it at all, not a single screening for a month.
Oh, jeez.
And I just went crazy. I was writing on forums. I went on the Christopher Nolan fan forums. I was like, guys, you should email this person and go like, what the hell? And I was younger, and I was a bit more, like I had more free time, I think, and I just have to go back and delete all my posts because.
What do you mean younger? That was like 4 years ago.
Yeah, 4 years ago is a long time. Dark Knight Rises 4 years ago?
Yeah, it's 2012.
We weren't even
4 years is a
then.
long time. 4
Yeah,
years is a long
exactly.
time. Yeah. Anyway, I ended up watching it in a completely different country where people were taking pictures while the movie was going on, and the audio was garbage. And the movie turned out to be garbage. Well, it turned out to be not as good as I expected. So
it was still good. It was still good.
Yeah.
Also, Fantastic Beasts, the new Harry Potter world theme
spin-off, yeah.
thing.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Coming out in a couple weeks. I'm
Not too excited.
I'm mildly excited about that because I really enjoyed the Harry Potter ones. But as far as news goes, you can actually go onto Google and go into Google Street View. I'm there right now, and you can like explore some of the areas in Street View. It's kind of cool.
That's cool.
Oh.
Another thing about
They did that for The Hobbit, didn't they? They did that for The Hobbit?
Yeah, that's right. They did actually. Yeah.
Yeah.
The Hobbit was better, obviously.
Yeah.
Anyway, you guys want to move on to our main topic of the day?
Sure.
Yeah, let Jack.
Whoa,
Jack
record
introduce.
time. It's only an hour. We got the topics. So the topic that I want to bring up. Well, we had to come up with a topic, I guess. But so I suggested about songs, and so I don't listen to I don't actively look for new songs or old songs or anything like that for the most part. It's sort of rare. Sometimes, so my source of music, songs is from movies or movie trailers sometimes. Because I just couldn't be bothered looking for trying to search the internet for a million bad songs for just one good song. So that's pretty much the main topic. If that's the kind of thing that you guys do, or do you guys actively look for songs and stuff like that? So just to throw it out there, just so I can start here. So for example, the Logan trailer that came out a few weeks ago, the Wolverine trailer, that had a really good song from Johnny Cash called "Hurt."
Yeah. Which, can I just say, is actually the Johnny Cash "Hurt" is not the original.
Oh, it's not.
No, it was he covered it, and who did?
Oh, really?
Yeah.
The video that came out, the Johnny Cash official video, is also pretty good.
Sorry, yeah. So originally is a Nine Inch Nails song, but Johnny Cash covered it, and since then, the guys from Nine Inch Nails have just flat out said, you know what, it is now Johnny Cash's song. Like, he just blew it out of the water.
Trent Reznor is a cool guy. He can respect Johnny Cash.
Yeah. Anyway, sorry for interrupting you, Jay.
No, don't worry. So yeah, I never heard of that song before. So I listened to it, and now I think I've listened to it like 20 times since the trailer came out.
Right. It's pretty good. It's pretty good.
Like without actually watching the trailer, just the song. Cause it's really good.
Yeah.
And it happens a lot, especially like movies that are set like in the 50s or 60s or 70s or whatever. They always put source music from like the Bee Gees to the Beatles to the Frank Sinatra to whatever. So that's the main topic.
Yeah, I agree with you. Like, I always find awesome songs from various movies and trailers and things. Sometimes it's like the whole soundtrack that I like really get into. But usually it's just like a couple songs from the soundtrack. It varies wildly. It can be just like pure orchestral music, or proper like pop music, or whatever you want to call it. But things like this is one song from The Martian. I think it's called "Making Water," and like if I'm ever in the mood to like go and build something, or like just like do work with my hands, I listen to this song. It gets me so pumped up. I have to go and like just like save the world. It's awesome.
Speaking of save the world, I do the same thing with Man of Steel.
Man
of Steel soundtrack. When I know I've got like a lot of stuff to get done, I'll just I need to zone out. I don't want to listen to lyrics, and I need something like just pump me up. I'll listen to the Man of Steel soundtrack.
Nice.
It's pretty good.
Nice. Yeah, that's a good pump up soundtrack for sure. For sure.
Yeah, there's a lot of great soundtrack songs like Time. I'm doing a lot of Hans Zimmer right now, but like Time from Inception was great.
Mm-hmm.
I would listen to that again and again after Inception came out.
Yeah, for sure.
I'm pretty sure there's like an hour or 10-hour loop on it on YouTube that you can just
I
think just have it on forever.
I may have watched that.
Yeah, a lot of songs that I've been listening to lately are by Michael Giacchino. I don't know how to pronounce it.
Yeah.
I think I know. I think of Mission
He
Impossible. I think.
Yeah, that's right. And he
does a lot of J.J. Abrams.
So he does all the Star Trek movies. He did Lost, the TV show, and there's some really good songs from there. I think he might actually be doing Star Wars Episode 8 as well.
It's not John Williams?
Maybe it is John Williams. Maybe he's one of the... Maybe... Oh, no. I saw this announced recently. I think maybe he's doing the Han Solo film.
Oh, the anthology film.
Yeah, that's right. So, anyway, that'll be cool. Also, Donald Glover being cast in the Han Solo film. I'm very excited about that. But yeah, so music. So I live in New Zealand, right? And New Zealand is famous for basically two things: sheep, maybe rugby. Okay, so three things, and
Lord of the Rings.
So. Whenever I'm out for a walk in the forest, or like even just in the park and stuff, I just listen to the Lord of the Rings soundtrack, and it makes me feel like I'm in Middle Earth.
Oh,
and
man, I'm so jealous.
It's amazing. It is amazing. I remember one time a couple years ago, I was in this place called Tongariro National Park, and it's this huge national park in the very middle of the North Island of New Zealand, and there's these huge volcanoes, and there's Mount Nurahoe, which is Mount Doom in the Lord of the Rings films. Uh-huh. So they use a real mountain. Anyway, I was like walking through the forest. And it's just not a forest. It's like sort of this grasslands with like big snow-capped peaks around me and stuff. And I'm listening to the Return of the King soundtrack, and just as the music's getting like the most epic and just like amazing, I crest the top of this hill, and then there's Mount Narahoe
come
or
on.
Mount Doom like right in front of me, and swear to God, I pretty much broke down crying. It was so beautiful. It was just,
Uh,
it was the most like humbling thing. It was such a weird experience, but it was actually one of my fondest memories of that time. It
yeah,
was really really cool.
it's an amazing soundtrack. Like
Hmm.
I can't fault it at on anything. It's amazing.
Yeah.
There's a lot of video essays out there about how Howard Shore, you know, like he did a lot of storytelling within the music, which is
Hmm.
just good, cool.
Absolutely. Um,
Yeah,
and then Junkie XL from Mad Max, the new Mad Max.
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah,
there's some good songs in that.
yeah,
It's
yep.
awesome.
Yeah, that was a
The
good,
scene
movie.
when they're driving, trying to escape through that canyon, they like the engine's on fire, so they like lower the cattle guard into
Yeah,
the sand, and the music there, it's just
I know.
shivers every
I know
time.
you love that scene.
It's so good, so
That
good.
movie is amazing. Like, I'm so glad I was alive when that movie came
So
out. It's so
yeah,
good.
my coworker has not seen it, so
Oh no.
I am trying to pull some strings. We're having a sort of we're planning a sort of a work trip down to Wellington.
Uh-huh.
So I'm trying to pull some strings to get it in the theater, in one of the theaters down there, and we're all gonna watch it.
That'd be awesome.
So
Oh, nice.
yeah. Um, but anyway, so
Yeah, I think soundtracks is like a topic on its own, and I could go on and on about
mhm,
amazing things,
yeah.
but specifically about trailers that like evoke uh, that use nice songs. Rockstar does a good job of that with speaking of GTA. With GTA when it came out, the first
Mhm,
trailer I think was I can't remember not the first trailer, but a few trailers after that there was like a song called Sleepwalking
mhm.
by Chain Gang of 1974. I had never heard of these guys, and it just comes out and it it does such a good job of you know accompanying the stuff in the trailer, and I couldn't stop listening to it. So
Yeah,
there's
right.
plenty of I can't remember every one of them, but there's plenty of video game trailers that do that kind of stuff, which is really great. The Assassin's Creed stuff, you remember what's his Run Boy Run
Run
was
Boy
in an
Run,
Assassin's
yeah,
Creed trailer, right?
yeah.
That's great. I mean,
Wood Kid or Kid Wood or something?
yeah,
Wood
yeah.
Kid, yeah.
I'm not like I actually listen to music when I work, and I like listening to interesting stuff. Like Spotify has this cool service called Discover Weekly. Every week they update it with songs that I think are tailored to what you like to listen to, but they're new and you haven't listened to them before.
Mm,
And I find songs there, and then I'll go like, oh, I really want to use this in a movie one day, even though it's copyrighted. I will put it in a short list and go like, oh, that's cool for like a montage video or for
yeah,
this or for
right,
that. So
right.
I like keeping a nice library of stuff where I can go like, I want to use this. That's the problem with making videos. It's so much fun when you can use music that you like, but if you're gonna do it like commercially, then you're in the area where you can't quite use that stuff, right? You've got to pay for it and you got to license it, basically.
Mm, yeah,
I think for our rocketry videos, the UVic rocketry videos that I made, I think I've been learning about copyright recently, and I think if you're not commercial, well, I mean, if somebody wants to take down a video that's been seen by 500 people showing some nice engineering work, and their music is being used to like sort of bolster it, and they're not making any money of it,
yeah, yeah.
and if there are any ads, the song owner is making money of it, then I think that's okay. But
Mhm, mhm.
it's so nice when I can do those like time lapses with Mad Max music.
Yeah,
You can't. How can you beat that? There's no way.
no, for sure, for sure. Um, the movie Drive, the
Mm-hmm.
Ryan Gosling film, one of my favorite films of all time. Partially because of the songs, and there are so
Oh
many
yeah, yeah.
awesome songs in that movie.
Yeah.
The
Some corny songs as well.
super corny and super like yeah, super cheesy. But yeah, it's amazing that how like I have a playlist of songs just on YouTube, and I would say probably half of the songs that are on that playlist, and I listen to them all the time, are ones that I've discovered on movies, or trailers or that sort of thing. So
Yeah.
yeah, it's
Yeah,
pretty awesome.
a lot of movies sort of cross many boundaries, I guess.
Hmm.
It sounds really cheesy the way I said it, but you know what I mean. So should like
Everything you say sounds cheesy, but
really? Okay,
yeah.
sure, I'll take that. But yeah, so yeah, I think we went through an emotional roller coaster. I think we went. I think. Do I guess want to talk more about songs or?
Oh, I could talk for ages about songs, but you know.
But you know,
Actually, no,
you
I don't
can't.
have anything else to talk about.
Basically, what we're like, the summary is that there are a lot of cool songs that we've discovered over the
Yeah.
years, thanks to movies and trailers and things, but we can't think of specifically which ones.
Yeah,
And I
exactly.
would say there's a lot of undiscovered stuff out there if you're looking for
Yeah, totally.
any genre of music. There's like millions, maybe not millions, but hundreds of thousands of people making really good music that
Hmm.
might not get that much attention.
Yeah.
Casey Neistat, those vlogs he has,
Hmm.
the music's usually great in those, and it's
Yeah.
just creators on SoundCloud
Yeah.
putting their stuff up, and I'm sure he has some agreement with them, and
Hmm.
but they're great.
Yeah, for sure. For sure.
Have you guys seen the remake of the Thomas Crown Affair?
Yep. One with Pierce
No.
Brosnan.
Yeah, one Pierce Brosnan.
Yeah.
So there's
Who's Pierce Brosnan?
oh my god.
I'm kidding.
Yeah, you better be. Anyway, there's. Have you seen the movie though?
Yeah.
No. Okay, so okay, no, don't worry about it. So there's a scene in that movie where Pierce Brosnan. So he watched Rob's paintings. He robs one painting, and then he's trying to return it at the end. And there's like music from like Nina Simone, "Sinner Man." It's a really catchy
Hmm.
song. If you hear it, you know what song I'm talking about. But,
Right. Right.
they use like a huge part of that. Like I listen to that music all the time because of that movie. So that was yeah. I don't know why I brought that up. I just thought I'd bring another example because it seemed like there's too few that we brought up. But I probably should have just kept my mouth shut.
Nina Simone, I have her in a couple of my playlists. Like I keep a playlist for like road trips and stuff like that, and for some reason she's on there. Even though I know like if I put it on in the car, people go like, "Huh? Why is this on for a road trip?" You know, her songs are not that kind of song.
Yeah, Kavinsky. That's the name from the Drive soundtrack. Some of the songs from
Oh yeah,
Kavinsky.
yeah, he's great.
Yeah, so good, so good. Oh, there was that one song from The Man from Uncle.
Oh yeah,
I can't remember the name of it.
Ah!
Yeah, that one. Oh, so good. So good.
Oh, that scene, man! I wanted to jump out of my chair in the cinema and go like, "Yes!" Just affirm that scene and go like, "That's amazing. That's what I want to do. That is incredible."
There have been 3 times that I can remember that's happened to me. Where like you're watching a movie in cinema and you just more than anything just want to jump up and just cheer. And that was one of them when they're driving like the car across the lake and that music's playing. It's just awesome. The other one was the scene that I referred to in Mad Max where they're driving through the canyon.
Right.
And then the third one was the hallway fight scene in Inception.
Yeah.
Now between those 3 scenes, the hallway scene is the only one where the music didn't have much of an input on my feeling towards the scene. But whether or not it would have been more impactful if it had like really good, awesome, powerful music, who knows? But yeah, the music definitely helped in the other 2 for sure.
Yeah. Yeah. Man from Uncle has great music.
Yeah, for sure.
There's like an Italian song in that movie that was pretty good.
That's also on my road trip music.
Yeah.
Ding, 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 ding. No, I can't do that one.
Yeah.
Queste, what's the name? Can't remember now.
It's Italian.
It's good. It's the part where the guy's eating a sandwich and
yeah, I know.
his partner Yeah. So,
Actually, that's another good like for movies, so especially like, certain films, especially like set in the 50s or 60s or whatever. They always like reference foreign songs like Italian or French or whatever that used to be very popular that you may not have heard of. So that's another source of knowledge, so to speak.
Yeah, yeah,
mhm.
yeah. The movie American Hustle
Yeah, they use quite a
had
few songs there.
some awesome
Can't remember
songs in
any
that
of the
one.
music, but
It was good. It was all like classics or 70s music. It was pretty awesome.
I just remember Louis C.K. being punched or something.
Yeah.
Yeah, he gets punched, alright.
All right. Well, that was good. Anything you guys looking forward to in the near future?
Just Arrival. Just watching Arrival.
Yeah. Oh, totally excited about Arrival. I forgot that was coming out in a week. That's awesome. It's so
That's
awesome.
pretty great.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's exciting.
Mm-hmm.
I'm excited to play the new Hitman episode. The last season finale is set in Japan. Excited, super excited to play that because they make these amazing sandboxes, and
Right.
just whenever they release a new one, it's like, oh, what are they gonna do now? How am I gonna be able to kill this guy in like 20 different ways? They're so detailed. Yeah, it's great. I'm excited to do that. And Jack and I are also supposed to be working on a short movie for a competition that should be submitted before November 25th. So
24?
the next time we talk,
Is it 25
next
or
time
24?
25th.
25th,
So the next time we talk, we should have done a bit more than we have right now.
Sweet. Good luck with it, guys.
Yeah. What about you, Michael?
What am I excited about? Well, yeah, Arrival, obviously, which is super exciting. I've noticed a lot of buzz starting to come up about the awards season, and I always love awards season. So there's I don't know, it's always exciting for me to watch, the Golden Globes and the Oscars and all that sort of stuff. That'll be good. And what else is so tested.com, my favorite website. Earlier a few months ago they were in New Zealand and they made a bunch of films in Wellington at What a Workshop and various other places. And I think they're finally going to be starting to release these videos on YouTube. So I'm very excited to see some of the stuff from the inside of the workshop. And I think Peter Jackson's personal collection of stuff, they'll be showing some of that. And it's going to be pretty awesome. Yeah, so I'm pretty excited. Pretty excited to see the stuff that I've already seen. Yeah.
One might say you are obsessed.
I guess.
That's one way to put it, but
yeah. So for the listeners, I have quite a few friends who work at What a Workshop, and I've had the lucky opportunity to see a lot of the stuff in there, and it's been pretty cool. But yeah, hopefully those videos will be available soon, and we'll definitely be talking about them when they are. So yeah.
Cool.
But yeah, other than that, I think we'll call this episode a wrap, shall we?
Yeah.
sure.
All right. So the outro music goes here. Yeah, please do that. That'd be awesome.
No, we'd have to pay.
I think I think there might be like a 4 second rule. If you play more than 4 seconds of a song, then you have to play.
I heard it was 30 seconds. Now it's 4 seconds. I don't know.
Well, anyway,
I think it's a made up amount of time.
Yeah, I mean,
probably.
what if it's like an advertisement jingle? It's like 4 seconds.
Yeah, it's true.
Cool.
Yeah. All right. Well, thank you everyone for tuning in.